Good morning. It is Wednesday, July 17th, and this is Michigan Mornings from Ave Maria Radio and the Ave Maria Radio app. I'm Matthew Handley. Coming up, James Papandrea shares his new book, Praying Like the Early Church. But first, your local weather and this news. Judge Margaret Van Houten says she will accept the deadlock if jurors in the Samantha Woll murder trial cannot reach a verdict tomorrow. Michael Jackson Bolanos is charged with killing the synagogue president in October, but says while he was in her neighborhood, he did not kill anyone. Jackson Bolanos has admitted he was looking for things to steal from cars. Jurors have been deadlocked since Friday. Former President Donald Trump and his running mate, U.S. Senator J.D. Vance, are holding a campaign rally in downtown Grand Rapids on Saturday. The two will speak at Van Andel Arena a week after Trump was grazed on his ear by a bullet in an assassination attempt at a rally in Pennsylvania. This will be their first rally after they both accept the Republican Party's nominations for president and vice president. Trump became the first Republican since George H.W. Bush to win Michigan in 2016. But lost to Biden in 2020. And former Secret Service agent Jason Russell says people who attend that rally can expect unprecedented security.
You'll see a significant presence because obviously it's going to be a big crowd, right? This is the first visit after he gets officially, nominated. So you're going to see a massive group of people coming out to see this.
Russell is the founder and president of Secure Environment Consultants in Grand Rapids and says being inside an arena will make the job easier for law enforcement, more so than an outdoor rally. And he expects all the candidates to hold inside events for at least the next several weeks. He says what happened on Saturday to Trump in Pennsylvania is an anomaly and shouldn't have people on edge about attending. President Biden held a rally in southeast Michigan last Friday, and Vice President Kamala Harris is in Kalamazoo today. The U.S. Coast Guard is working to clear pollution on the St. Mary's River in Sault Ste. Marie after getting a report of an oily sheen. They received that report around 5 p.m. Monday and determined it came from about 10 gallons of an unknown oily product. A floating boom has been placed in the river. The sheen was near the Coast Guard base and around the museum Ship Valley Camp in George Kemp Marina. And an African man is being accused of trying to smuggle giant snails into the United States. The Customs and Border Protection Office says they seized 90 giant African land snails from a traveler at Detroit Metropolitan Airport last month. They say the passenger from Ghana declared that he had fresh food items but didn't mention the snails, which are considered an invasive species in the U.S. Agents noticed an unusual smell coming from his luggage when they found the snails. The man said they were intended to be eaten. If released, the snails could cause major crop damage in the U.S. and pose a public health risk. You're listening to Michigan Mornings from Ave Maria Radio. Now this.
Ave Maria in the afternoon, premiering July 15th with Dr. Marcus Peter. An engaging take on the church, culture, and current events.
Hi, I'm Marcus Peter. Tune in weekdays from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern as we examine the world around us, past and present, through the lens of faith and from the heart of the church. So join me in conversation with our guests and call in with your questions.
Tune in starting Monday, July 15th as we navigate the culture on this EWTN radio station.
In the Motor City today, we may see some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Our high will be near 82. Tonight will be mostly clear and lows will dip to around 59. Tomorrow, we can expect mostly sunny skies and highs around 75. Friday will be sunny with temperatures in the lower 80s, and Saturday will be sunny with highs in the mid-80s. In the Saginaw Valley today, we may see some scattered showers throughout the day. Our high will be around 79. Tonight will be mostly clear with lows around 55. Tomorrow we can expect sunny skies and highs around 76. Friday will be sunny with highs around 80, and Saturday will be sunny with highs in the mid-80s. Dr. James Papandrea joined Vanessa Denhagarmo on Epiphany recently to talk about his new book, Praying Like the Early Church.
I spent my career studying the early church and the early Christians because, I believe that, what the Christians who were closest in time to the apostles, what they were doing and what they believed and what they wrote and what the church fathers taught, I believe that that's important. And so I had written this book called Reading Scripture Like the Early Church, and this seemed like the obvious sort of follow-up to that. And it turns out there hasn't been a lot of work done on looking back at the early church to see what was the prayer life of the average Christian like back in the early church. And so that's what the book is about.
So why is it important for us to read Scripture like the early church and pray like the early church? What is the value for us today in this modern time?
Well, I think that one of the things that we have lost in our contemporary culture is the value of that which stands the test of time. In other words, we're such a technology-driven culture now that we're sort of conditioned to think that whatever is newest is automatically the best just because it's the newest. And actually, in the history of our faith, it was always the opposite. What is most true is that which has stood the test of time. And so within the context of, the Christian church and our Catholic faith, it's important to look back and see, Jesus taught his disciples. What did they teach their disciples? And what did they teach their disciples? Because they were closest to Jesus, much closer in time than we are. And so they have a kind of advantage over us in knowing how Jesus himself and the apostles would have interpreted our New Testament and the Bible and how they prayed. And so it's important for us to reconnect with the early church in that way.
Epiphany is on weekdays at noon here on Ave Maria Radio. I'm Matthew Handley, and that does it for this edition of Michigan Mornings on a Wednesday. You can stay connected with me on X. I'm at Radio Handley, and Lord willing, I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Until then, goodbye.